Peace. What's happening, good people? This gift here for Pay Us No Mind. And today we're taking this musical journey, man. This journey down the path of music history from bootleg copies to digital downloads, illegal digital downloads, to Spotify, how we get here, the devaluing of music, what music fans expect and what do they want, and making profit from music and all of this other stuff. So this topic, man, is more open-ended, right? It's just more like just storytelling and going through the history. And if you learn something from it, great. If not, then just, I guess, enjoy the ride, man, you know, because it's just something that I find fascinating. So we're going to talk about it. I also want you guys to share your experiences and your memories and, you know, everything like that as well. So we're going to dive into this topic. I'm going to check the system, make sure everything is good to go. Now, just to let y'all know, we got some changes too to the Pay Us No Mind store. Now in the Pay Us No Mind store, for those that might be interested in booking consultations or campaigns or whatever have you, Shopify now has this shop pay option where you could break up payments into installments, like 4 installments and stuff like that. Like I'm gonna show you guys how right here. You know, so you look at something like you want to book a consultation, you add it to your cart, you go to checkout, you click shop pay, and then you see there that option, or 4 installments of $25. They allow you to break it up into separate payments where you don't have to pay the one lump sum up front. So that's just an option for some folks out there. Also, if you want to, let me get this out of here. Also, if you'd like to support the Pay Us No Mind channel, you can by becoming a member. It's a join button at the bottom of this YouTube video. There's also links to books and everything in the description box, all of that good stuff. So y'all know how we do this, man. I run my mouth about the topic at hand for the first 15, 20 minutes. Then we get into the live chat where everybody get to ask questions and comment and all of that good stuff. If you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that. If you have subscribed to the channel, please click the bell icon so you can get notified the next time we go live. Also, hit that like button, man. It matters to the YouTube algorithm, man, that you hit the like button and comment and engage with the video and show YouTube that you like it, you know? So let me, like I said again, check the system, make sure everything is good to go, and then we're going to dive into this, man. Yeah, buddy. I hope everybody doing good. I hope everybody feeling good. I hope it ain't too hot in your neck of the woods, man, and that everything is gravy over there, man. And if it is too hot, you in a house under the air conditioner somewhere, you know, or under a nice shady tree, you know, catching a cool breeze or something, you know. Now, listen, let me show y'all something. Now, I had to go digging for these because I don't even like have too many of them. And really, I had to go into my wife's stash to find it. I had to go into my wife's stash to grab these, man. But y'all remember these? This is an old Jodeci CD, right? Jodeci, stay. So you're having my baby. Ooh, yeah. Right? Now, our CD collection is all jumbled up, right? So it's like it's a Jodeci CD with Reasonable Doubt in it. But why I'm showing you this is just to show you how these things used to come. So this was like the official CD. And you take this thing out, this insert, and you take a look at it and you say, okay, you see all of this stuff? You see how this CD used to come? Right? You see all of this? You know, you flip the back. Right? Old school. Everybody that's older, they know what's up. This is how the CDs used to come. Then you had the disc. And the disc came with this shiny laminated thing, man, you know. Now, you had bootleg copies of CDs, and bootlegs came like this, you know, something like this, where you got an insert, and the insert was something like this, like paper. Sometimes it was faded, you know, discolored, didn't look too good. Now, back when I was younger in the hood, man, growing up in East Harlem, it's like we bought the bootleg copies because we wanted to hear the album early, because usually the bootleg leaked before the official version came out. So it's like the album don't come out till next month, maybe 2 months down the line, but here you are on 112th Street and 3rd Avenue, they got it, you know? So it's like, I remember back when Fat Joe came out with Jealous One's Envy. He dropped the single, everybody's waiting for the album. Next thing you know, people is like, yo, it's for sale on 112th Street. And people are going to 112th Street to buy the album. And more so out of curiosity to hear what it's going to sound like and things of that nature. So they cop that bootleg copy. Now, first off, they still had to pay for it, so it wasn't free. Isn't like the age of file sharing where, you know, you just download it for free, even though it was cheaper than the official version, but you still had to pay for it. So an official CD cost you like $16, if my memory serves me correctly. Those in the comments that might also remember how much CDs cost and stuff. But as I remember it, I think it was like $16. I wasn't a big music buyer, but $16 for a CD. But the bootlegs were like $5. You could get the bootleg for $5. You know, now you bought a bootleg, but the bootleg wasn't the official copy. You know, the bootleg came with faded cover artwork, sometimes the wrong cover artwork. The CD came with sometimes the name of the artist scribbled on it. Sometimes it had the laminated cover, but it was like not the official one. Again, faded, sometimes bootleg looking. The audio quality on the CD sometimes was shaky, you know, sounding wobbly, like, you know, like somebody had copied it, you know? So you wanted to hear it, so you just listened to it, but it was an inferior product to the actual CD file. But people bought it nonetheless to hear it and talk about, yo, man, this joint is hot, yo, you know. And then when the official came out, a lot of the people that bought the bootleg would go and buy the official copy, because first off, the official copy would have official songs on it, because sometimes the bootleg didn't have the right songs on it, you know, so they would go and they would get the official, but also for the fact that it was the official copy. So to some extent, it was kind of like somebody having like a bootleg Fendi bag or a bootleg Gucci bag. It's like, at the end of the day, it's just a bag. But people look and they say, but that's not the real Fendi. That's not the real Gucci, you know. And people that I knew that was like music fans that I had that was music fans, they come over to your house or we go over to a friend's house. And if they pull out the bootleg and the official version is actually in stores, they call them out like, yo, that ain't even a real joint. You know, they call them out almost in the same fashion that somebody would call out somebody that had a Fendi bag that was fake or a Gucci bag that was fake, you know. So it was pride taken in having that official copy, right? And also in being a real authentic supporter of the artist. So it was a level of pride wrapped up in that. And it was also like quality and product that was wrapped up in that too. And the reasons why people bought CDs and valued CDs and vinyl and all of that different type of stuff. But at the core of it, you didn't have to pay for music, you know, like never really. It's like maybe back in the days when in phonographs and stuff like that. But even from the period of time with cassettes, you wanted a song that your friend had, you say, yo, dub me a copy. They take the cassette one, put it in the play box. They take cassette two, put it in the record box. make you a copy. If all you wanted to do was hear the music, you could get the music. CD era, you want a song or a CD or album that your friend got, yo, make me a copy. They go home, they rip the files to their computer, they put a CD-ROM in the slot, they copy those files to a CD, scribble Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt on it, give you a copy. You got a copy. If all you wanted was the music, cars park outside, they play music from the speakers, radio stations play the music. If all people wanted was the music, they could get that. They didn't have to go and spend money for the music. What people paid for was the experience of the CD, the whole, almost like a collector's item, having something that, a physical representation, like I got this thing in my hands that I can hold, that I can touch, that I can feel, so that's what people were paying for, really. Now, you move from that era of the bootleg, where people had to buy these bootleg copies, and it was a inferior product to the official, but you still had to buy it. And then people, if they liked it, they would go out and they would buy the official copy and stuff like that. But a lot of people just didn't bother with bootlegs because it was bootlegs. Now you move from bootlegs to Napster. Now when Napster took off, I never used Napster personally. When I got hip to file sharing, it was sites like LimeWire, Morpheus, what else was it? It was LimeWire, it was Morpheus. If any of y'all know in the comments, man, y'all can shout them out too, right? But I know LimeWire, I know Morpheus, and it was another one that was out there like that. BitTorrent was one that came later, but you had these illegal file sharing sites. And what that effectively was people dubbing copies on steroids, because in the make me a copy era, it was, you had to have a friend that had those files, right? That had the CD or the cassette to make you a copy. And it's like, how many copies can one person make unless they're going to commit their life to sitting there making copies for their friends? But in the file sharing era, somebody takes a CD, rip it to their computer, puts it up on LimeWire or one of those sites, and everybody all around the world could download that song, could get a copy of that song or that album. Now, in the sense of the albums and the copies and stuff like that, listen, even with that, it was more so sampling. People wanted to hear the music, because back in those days, right, it used to work in a structure, in a system. You used to have a single would come out. And again, older people that remember that time, they know they would drop a single, and then off the back of the single, right? Off of the back of the single, if you loved the single and you thought the single was amazing, you went out and bought the album to hear what was on the album, because you did not get to hear the songs that were on the album unless you bought it. The only song you heard was the single. So if you wanted to hear the album, you had to buy it. And people would buy the album, and then a lot of times people would be severely disappointed in the album. And I want people in the comments too to shout out if you ever got sold on an artist from a single and bought the album and found yourself to really be disappointed. Like, oh man, this is what it sounds like. If you've ever been disappointed by an album, shout that album out. But yeah, people would get geeked off the single, go and buy the album, be disappointed that the only song on the album that they actually like is the single, and feel like, oh man, I got duped. Like, damn, I went and spent $16 on this CD and I only like one song on it. Now, impact of that was the fact that you buying that album that you didn't like subsidized record companies to be able to take risks on other artists. So a record company spends $1 million to put out an artist's album. You go out, you buy it. You find you didn't like it. They still got the sale. They still made money on that artist. Now, the money that they make from that artist, they can take and invest into another artist. Now, file sharing comes along. People go and download an album. They listen to it. They say, yo, this is whack. I ain't buying that. Now that they know the album is garbage, they don't go and spend money on it. Then they go and they tell a friend, yo, don't get that album. That album is whack. And that friend tells a friend, and that friend tells a friend. And then the sales for that album tank. Album don't sell no copies. Now, record company, hey, you can say, well, put out better music. But at the end of the day, the music they put out is music that they believe in. It's music that the artists believe in. It's music that the A&R believe in. This is stuff they think is going to work. Stuff they think is going to be successful. And they don't know that it's not until they put it out and people don't buy it. And when they put it out and people don't buy it, that's when they understand, oh, this is not a good album. But by then, if people don't buy it, oh, money's lost. They done invested money in this artist. Now they lose money when people don't buy the release, right? Puts them in a spot of being in a negative. Now they can't afford to invest in that next artist because of the losses that they're taking on these other artists. Now, from the consumer perspective, it's like, hey, I'm saving money because I'm not wasting money buying these whack releases. Now, that also factored into the rise of Southern hip hop too, because it's like once it got to the point where record companies couldn't make money off of all of the artists that they signed, at least some money off of all of the artists that they signed, then they couldn't afford to take the risk. So it became that dynamic of you got to build your own fan base and build your own following before anybody would come to the party, because nobody wanted to lose money to discover whether they was right about you or not. So in the South, where they were selling music out the trunk of their cars and moving units on their own, that's where record companies started shifting, started going to the South and signing those acts that was selling music already out the trunk of their car. No Limit Records, Cash Money Records, all of these artists that was already selling music because they knew this music already has a fan base. It's already getting sales. So we are pretty much guaranteed a certain amount of money in signing these acts, right? So that's kind of where that came to rise, and where they kind of like the East Coast kind of like declined, because that wasn't the East Coast thing. We wasn't selling music out the trunk of our cars on the East Coast. It was more so you find somebody with talent, you sign them, and then, you know, you take the risk on whether other people believe that that artist is talented too, you know. And it was more so if an artist wanted to get itself out there, it was mixtapes. Artists would jump on mixtapes, Sycamore Sick mixtape, Action Pack mixtape, those types of mixtapes, DJ Clue mixtape, stuff like that, to get themselves out there, you know. And that's the way that they kind of rock with hip hop, you know. Anyway, now with illegal file sharing and consumers, a lot of times people, like I had a friend, my man Daryl, he was a big illegal downloader, right? But he's also somebody that spends the most money on music that I've ever known. He spends the most money on music, like every Friday, like clockwork. He go to Tower Records, or, you know, is it HMV? I forget the other one, something MV, right? Like y'all might remember them. But yeah, he would go to one of those record stores on payday and just buy CDs, you know, walk around, find new artists and different releases that was out and just buy them. He would illegally download, more so as investigation and like an investigative thing. Like, let me hear if this guy's album is worth buying. And then if he heard the album and he felt like it was worth buying, he'd go and buy it. If he heard the album and he felt like it was whack, he wouldn't buy it, you know? So it's not that, because like the record companies make it seem as if illegal file sharing was killing them, in the sense of people were downloading music instead of buying it, which is, yeah, kind of, but not really, right? Because it's more so people were not buying bad albums, you know. Like if an album was good, like Adele's albums, both of her albums, 21 and 18, both hit the charts, you know, like were on the charts, dominating at the same time during the file sharing era. You know, so people were illegally file sharing, but that album still did well. So when albums were good and people were really enthusiastic about them and liked them, they still went out and bought them. File sharing didn't stop that, you know. But if it was a bad album, then, you know, that's when it kind of hurt the companies and all of that stuff, you know. But by and large, Illegal file sharing was sampling, investigation, people testing the waters, seeing whether this is a release I liked or not, you know? Now, those that remember the file sharing era, remember, it was no easy task. As I like to say, what you don't pay for in money, you pay for in labor, right? So, or you pay for in time. What you don't pay for in money, you pay for in time. Now, with file sharing, we're not talking about these modern times where you have these super fast internet speeds and, you know, you can download a song in minutes. You're talking about it taking like a half an hour to download a song. You know, you play a song, it's buffering, all of this different type of stuff. So it's taking you a while to download a track. And then a lot of times after you downloaded the song, it'll be the wrong song. You would think it's one song and it's another song. It's somebody that uploaded, you thought you was downloading Nelly Country Grammar, but it turned out to be some dude that just like tried to upload his song as Nelly Country Grammar to get you to listen to it. And you done spent 15, 20 minutes waiting for this song to download to turn out that it's some other guy. And now you got to go and try to spend another 15, 20 minutes to try to find a real version and hope that it's actually the real version and not another mistake, right? So you had to go through all of that. And then the complications of whether the file was going to have a virus attached to it and you get a Trojan horse on your computer or a worm on your computer and all of that type of stuff. So it was work. It was work. It wasn't just easy. Oh, just go click download, got the song. It was work. So people that was downloading music were fans of music. They were committed. They were people that really loved music, that was sitting down to go through all of that to get a song. Is like, you deserve that song almost, right? Because it's like all of the work that they went through to get it. Now, they had a study that showed that people who illegally downloaded music spent more money on music than people who did not. And I show y'all that. Like, look. Right? You see this article right here? It's like illegal downloaders spend the most on music, says Paul. People who illegally download music from the internet also spend more money on music than anyone else, according to a new study. The survey published today found that those who admit illegally downloading music spent an average of £77 a year on music, £33 more than those who claim that they never download music dishonestly. The findings suggest that plans by the Secretary of State of Business. Yeah, man. And this is right. That's nothing new because Trent Reznor, I believe he's from Nine Inch Nails, right? Trent Reznor. If I'm mistaken, y'all correct me. But yeah, he was talking about that. How like, yo, these people are super fans and they spend a lot of money on music. Like, yo, it's not that big of a deal that they illegally download. Like, yo, they're going to pay to come to concerts. They're going to buy T-shirts and stuff like that. And this is also where the 360 deal came into play because of that fact, because he was right about that. He was right about the fact that just because people were downloading the music illegally and didn't want to pay for it, that didn't mean that they didn't want to support the artist in other means and didn't like love the artist and wasn't going to give them money. So people weren't buying music, but they were going to concerts. They was paying for merch. They was paying for experiences. So the record companies look and they say, hey, well, we're not making money off of the music anymore, but the artist is making money selling merch and touring and stuff like that. So we need to get a piece of all of this other money that's coming in because we are the ones that's making this artist popular, but we're not profiting from the sale of the music. And that's where, you know, you had the whole 360 deal come into play, you know. Now, it's like with the sense of illegal file sharing and stuff like that, you have the iPod come through. And with the iPod comes iTunes and breaking up albums into individual songs where it's like, yo, okay, well, you heard the single and you went and streamed the album. You went and downloaded the album illegally and listened to it and found that you didn't like most of the songs on the album. And in order to get those other, or like you might have liked one other song, but in order to get that song, you had to buy the whole album. And you didn't want to spend $16 to buy the album. So it was all or nothing, effectively. the single was for sale, but the other song that you like, song number 6, wasn't for sale as a single. You had to buy the album to get that. So iTunes comes and breaks it up. You don't have to spend $16 to get song number 6. You can just get song number 6 and that single that you like and buy those individual things separately and not have to buy the album, right? And makes it so like that. Now, illegal file sharing is still a thing. So what happens is record companies say, oh man, they still super concerned about illegal file sharing. So here comes DRM, digital rights management, which is like this thing that they put on an audio file that locks it and makes it so you can't copy it, right? And I got hit with that because I had, I remember I Need a Dollar, this song by Aloe Black. I wanted to remix it. And I bought the song off of iTunes and tried to bring it into a program to cut it, right? To cut a piece of it, the loop. And because it was DRM protected, I couldn't drag it into a program. So it stopped you from doing stuff like that, but also it caused conflicts with incompatible audio players. So if you had like an audio player on your computer or on your, like whatever you use to listen to music, if it was incompatible, the DRM would block the file from playing. So people would buy a song from iTunes and then they couldn't listen to the song that they bought. So then you feel like, what am I buying? Right? First off, do I even own it? Because I'm paying for it, but I don't have the ability to do with it as I please. Like, what if I want to make a copy for like my car and a copy for like another place that I stay and to keep the official copy at my crib? Like, there was no way for me to do that with DRM. So that kind of like took a hit with digital downloads where people start feeling like I don't even own it. Right. And from a large point, right, people never really value digital downloads in the first place. Never that value digital downloads because it's like water in your hand to a great extent. Like I said again, people never had to pay for the music. If all you wanted was the music, you could get a friend to make a copy of a cassette tape, burn you a CD. You did not need to buy an official copy in order to get the music. If all you wanted was the music, that was free. You could get that from anybody, right? But digital downloads is just the music. It strips away the packaging, strips away the experience. It's just the file. And people look at that and they like, yo, I'm not paying for that. What am I paying for? You know, and that's even like to say, okay, well, like an experience of mine where I had like a show and I had like a CD wrapped up in like paper or something like that because I didn't have like any inserts. And, you know, I had to promise people that, yo, you know, if you buy this, I'm going to give you the official copy. And because people value that packaging, the official packaging, just like with the stores. If you go into a store and the packaging is torn or something like that, like Best Buy, they have like the open box section and they give you a discount on it. They don't charge you the same price if the packaging is damaged, you know, so that played a key role in value and stuff, and stripping that away, devalued the music, DRMs, devalued digital downloads. People never liked them, never rock with them, you know, and you look at it and you say, okay, well, if you compare it to like if you compare it to like bootlegs, you look at a bootleg copy, right? You look at a bootleg copy and you say, okay, you compare something like this to something like this, right? And it's like an inferior product, you know, it's an inferior product. You look at it and you say, well, that's not that. I want the official copy. I want the real Fendi bag. Same thing with file sharing. You go and you download a file illegally. That's just water in your hand. There is no packaging. You got the song, but you don't have the insert. You don't have the jewel case. You don't have the laminated disc. You don't have none of that experience. You just got the song. So people download the music, but they want the experience. They want the laminated disc and all that other stuff. So they still go out and they buy it. Now you strip away all of that stuff and you say, okay, well, what's the difference between a digital file that you download off of an illegal file sharing site and a digital file that you buy off of iTunes? There is no difference. It's the same. You know, there's no difference between the two. So a person says, well, why, if I can download it for free, am I going to buy it? The only reason they would buy it is if you force them to. Whereas with CDs in the bootleg era and the file sharing era versus CDs, people would go and buy the CD, right? Even though they could get the music. What with digital downloads, you have to restrict access to the music to force people to buy it, because otherwise people don't want to. People don't want it, right? They don't value the actual product of digital downloads, you know? And that is proven in a sense that, like, you look at something like this, right? You see, look, digital music revenue overtakes CD sales for the first time globally. And you know when this was? 2015. 2015. It took up to 2015 for digital music to overtake CD sales. And it wasn't even digital downloads alone. This was when Spotify came in play. So it took the digital download revenue and subscription revenue combined to overtake the revenue generated by CDs, because people just weren't rocking with digital downloads. And digital downloads had like a glimmer of a period of being like the primary thing before streaming took over. Because same thing with same as with what you call file sharing, people look and they say, well, what's the difference between streaming this song and owning it by buying it on iTunes? There really is no difference. Why am I going to buy it? You know, now getting to Spotify, what Spotify aimed to do was to not become the primary source of income for the music industry and artists. What Spotify aimed to do was solve the problem with illegal file sharing, was to say, okay, cool, well, all of this, how cumbersome it is to download files, viruses, all of that other stuff, people just want to hear it. Hey, if they can hear it in a place where artists generate royalties, then now they get to listen to it for free, but the artists make money. So we support it with ads. The fans get to come and stream it, and the artist makes money from them listening to it, and you don't just completely lose out from them illegally downloading. And when Spotify came in, a lot of people stopped downloading and started using Spotify because they could just hear the music without waiting a half an hour or whatever for a song to download. Also, they aim to solve the problem of, hey, somebody downloaded your music, you lost out on that revenue, but people could import their music libraries into Spotify and stream their music from Spotify servers, and artists could profit from the illegal downloads that people had. So I download an album illegally, I import it into Spotify, and now that artist that missed out on the sale makes money off of me streaming the music. So it was initially considered like supplemental income. Like, hey, all of this money that you're losing from illegal file sharing, we're gonna kind of replace that income with streaming revenue. Right. And the big thing was, hey, we're not going to cannibalize sales. People aren't going to use Spotify instead of buying music. You know, you guys are going to be safe. But that was the big concern, and why it was like this big thing with the record companies preventing Spotify from launching in the US, because it was like, well, they're going to cannibalize sales. And how are you going to promise that you're not going to cannibalize sales? And when Spotify first launched in the US, they had these streaming caps where you could only stream a certain amount of songs a month and stuff like that, right? Like no mobile app, because they didn't want you to be able to take the music with you on the road, because they felt like that would discourage people from having ownership level access, all of this different type, all of these things, that these rules that they would impose, concerned about it cannibalizing sales. Now, what did Spotify ultimately do? Cannibalize sales. Not so much that because people didn't want to buy, but because of the fact that they eliminated CDs to a great extent. So once they discontinue the Walkman, and once they start making computers without CD-ROMs, and once they stop making cars without CD players and stuff like that, then it's like CDs become work. And for somebody to have a CD, it's like, where am I listening to a CD at? So now it's like, not that I don't value a CD, but it's just inconvenient. And now the only thing there is a digital download. But I don't value digital downloads. I'd rather stream or download illegally than to buy a digital download. So what is there to buy? There is nothing to buy, right? And that's where the record companies dropped the ball. There was no product that they created for people to buy in between CDs and streaming and illegal file sharing. It was just digital downloads. People never valued that. So, hey, sales went the way of the dinosaur, right? People don't even buy music no more. They start talking about discontinuing iTunes, stuff like that. Now, coming to today, you think and you say, well, what are artists to do? Streaming pays what it pays, which is not a lot. How can artists generate revenue? And I think looking at the history and file sharing and all of that other stuff, what you kind of understand and what you see is that people value the experience. You know, people value having like collector's items. People value those types of things. So it's like a lot of times when artists talk about selling music, they talk about selling music like a regular product. You know, like I'm going to come out with an album and the only way you can have my album is if you buy it. And it's like you're going to lose like that 100 times out of 100 because people, if your music is popular, the only way you win selling music from a restriction standpoint is if it's obscure and nobody knows of you. Because if somebody knows of you, straight to YouTube, somebody's going to buy it and then upload it to YouTube for everybody else to enjoy. And those people aren't going to feel the need to buy it because they can stream it on YouTube for free. And you effectively would have to play whack-a-mole and keep requesting takedowns if you find out who uploaded it. So there is no way for you to prevent a song from being accessible to people online, even with things like Dropbox and iCloud and Google Drive, where people could store these files in these folders and send them out to friends and stuff like that. So the only thing that protects somebody trying to sell music is obscurity, is if there isn't really nobody that wants it other than like this small group of fans, and they don't even like really think anybody else would want it, so they don't even think to upload it anywhere. So only obscurity protects somebody that's selling music. If the music becomes popular, then you get subject to the free sites that have music. SoundCloud, YouTube, the drives, the Dropboxes, all of that different type of stuff will eat you alive and cannibalize your sales. You know, so by and large, why people buy today is more so charity to a great extent. Like, this is an artist that I like. I want to support them. This is the means that he's telling me to support him. He's saying, hey, if you want to support me, buy my CD. And people say, I support you. I'll buy your CD. Or they're just so into you, they want a collector's item. So they buy the CD as a collector's item. Same thing with people selling cassette tapes. People buy the cassette tapes as a collector's item. Vinyl, people buying vinyl as a collector's item. And you have these conferences where people trade vinyl and all of this different type of stuff, man. But it's like, if you don't have a relationship with your audience, it's going to be a struggle to like sell them, not just physical music, but to sell them anything, you know? And with streaming, artists think, okay, you know, I get streams, but streaming is like, it's its own bag in the sense that, you know, it don't pay a lot and you need this massive amount of streams in order to generate revenue. So you look at it and you say, well, how am I going to get that? And, you know, that factors into you having certain connections and relationships because you effectively got to get on those major playlists in order to generate those large amounts of streams for people to really make a living, you know. But yeah, man, I talk about the history and all of this stuff, man, and how we get to where we are. But one thing though, too, man, it's like talking about the future and where we're going. It's like, I think NFTs might be something that brings people back to buying music, and not now, you know, certainly not now, because they're not popular enough. Not enough people even know how to use them, like how to get them. People don't have crypto wallets to buy them, you know, so we're somewhat a ways away from it being popular enough to really be a thing like that. But where I see crypto kind of like becoming like this or NFTs becoming this thing that helps sell music is because of this, right? Hold on. Let me find this thing. 1 minute, y'all. This Beatles album. Right? Beatles had an album that sold, right? Yeah, here it is. Because it's like I was telling y'all before about NFTs and the fact that NFTs can make like you can have an album. Let's say you got an album of 100 copies. You could have those 100 copies numbered 1 through 100, and everybody, like the person that buys number 1, the NFT is effectively an official document of the fact that they got the first copy. They got the first copy printed, the first copy minted or duplicated or whatever you want to call it. They got the first copy. The person with copy number 2 has the official documented copy of the second one ever made. Person at number 3 has number 3, same thing. Number 4, same thing. And to fans and people into those artists, that carries value, right? So you say, okay, well, what if somebody could prove that they had the first copy of the first Destiny's Child album ever made, or the first copy of Beyonce's first album? You know, her fans, her what do they call themselves? The I forget what the Beehive or something like that. Her Beehive fans, they would pay top dollar for that. And you know, there was a lot of people that fought me on that. Like, you know, I don't get why people would care about having the first copy. So that's simply Googling, right? Now, you look at this and you see first ever copy of the Beatles' White Album sold at an auction for just under $1 million. Ringo Starr has auctioned off the first ever copy of the Beatles' self-titled 1968 album, with the item selling for $910,000 at auction, more commonly known as the White Album. Each unit of the record came with its own serial number stamped on the cover. The first numbered copy of the LP was rumored to be John Lennon's, who, according to Paul McCartney, shouted the loudest for it when the band decided to have the copies numbered. The first 4 pressings of the album were all in possession of the Beatles, while copy number 5, right? Copy number 5 sold at an auction in 2008 for a little less than $30,000. So copy number 5 sold for $30,000. The number 1 copy sold by Julian's Auctions in Beverly Hills. Proceeds from the sale go to the Lotus Foundation. So yeah, man. People do value having the number 1 copy and the number 2 copy and stuff like that. It's just a matter of nobody knows who's going to be the next Beatles or the next Jay-Z or the next Beyonce. And what artists do now that you could say is a mistake, maybe not, depending on how you see it, but they want to squeeze big profits immediately. So somebody puts up an NFT for a song right now and they have it be an auction and try to have people compete to buy it and hope that they can sell this one song or this one album or one copy of this album for thousands of dollars from jump. And what happens is it's to some extent similar to choice overload. You don't give people a price point. People come in and it's like, what do I bid? I don't even know. Okay, well, how much? You know, and I just won't bid anything, right? You lose people like that. Now, the thing about why I feel like it can reignite sales of albums is that it works as incentive. Not so much, yo, buy this album for $100. Now, maybe if you have demand, you know, you can do that. You can auction off the first copy and have people compete to buy it. But by and large, most artists, I think, you know, you can play a sell low, buy high kind of game, right? Where you sell your album with an NFT attached to it for the same price an album usually sells for, $16. But now somebody that buys it has the added benefit and the possibility that if you take off as an artist, now they have this asset that they could sell for maybe thousands of dollars down the line, which also makes them invested in you and your success, because the more you succeed, the more value their item has. So might they be more inclined to help with promotion, to talk about you, to help other people discover you and stuff like that, if they know they have this asset that will increase in value as you become more popular? Possibly, So I feel like attaching NFTs to albums can ignite value from a consumer standpoint once consumers start to understand what NFTs are and understand, how to have wallets and how to store NFTs and all of that other type of stuff. Now, there's complications with it because NFTs aren't a file themselves. It's just like metadata, information, stuff like that. So we'll see where that goes. But I definitely feel positive about that whole igniting value in albums. And as we move towards a level of maturity and making it more mainstream, the cost is coming down. So previously it was thousands of dollars for NFTs. Now, they're implementing other blockchains, making it gasless where people don't have to spend money to make them, and people can buy them for cheaper prices because they don't have to pay a whole lot of money in transaction fees to get them. So it's becoming more feasible for somebody to sell an NFT for $14 or $15 or whatever have you, from a blockchain that people recognize and on a platform that people who buy NFTs are familiar with, like OpenSea and stuff like that, man. So now I'm gonna kick it to the community. You guys share your comments and everything like that. Again, I posed that question: have you ever heard a single, then bought the album because you were so excited about the single and found yourself to be disappointed in the album and wished you wouldn't have spent no money on it? Even if you streamed it, did you feel, like, word, my time, I wasted time listening to the album? Shout out that album. Tell me how you felt about it. All right, y'all, we're going to get to the comments. You guys can tell me also, your experience with file sharing, all of that different type of stuff. I might share a link to the chat room if anybody want to, y'all can tell me if somebody want to jump on screen or whatnot, man. Otherwise, we'll get on up out of here. All right, good people. Let's see who we got in the building. We got Long Distance Traveler. We got DJ Bushi. We got Frustrate Man Spitter. We got Black Davis Boy. What's up? Thank you for the donation, man. Spitter, man. Peerless Records. Jay Silver. What's good to everybody, man? If you got questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. If you want to get a shout out or whatever, definitely jump in the chat just to say what's up so I can shout you out, so I can see you in the building. All right, y'all. So let's see what's good, what folks is talking about here. Yeah, man. Frustrate Man Spitter, man. Thank you for the donation. Much appreciated. Right. Let me remove this thing. Word. Let's see what people talking about in the building. Long Distance Traveler said BitTorrent sci-fi fans in UK would upload Battlestar Galactica 2010 sci-fi series as it aired for North America fans because it was delayed by a year in North America. Yeah, man. People was sharing stuff to help things spread that they were passionate about, but it was building a huge base and went straight to #1 in North America when it was released here. Yo, that's like the record companies had sued BitTorrent, and then in that trial, it came out that the record companies were uploading their own music to BitTorrent as a way to basically identify whether there was demand for the release before they decided to actually put it out there and put the budget behind it to release it publicly. And if the song took off, like people were downloading it like crazy and spreading the word about it, then they would go and try to have BitTorrent remove it. And if they couldn't get it removed, then they take them to court and try to sue them and say, hey, these guys illegally have our music up there. They're having it file sharing and all the other stuff. But it was discovered that they were uploading it themselves. And even a lot of the music blogs were saying that the record companies would give them music to post to their blogs. And then once the release came popular, they would send them takedown notices for them to remove it. Yeah, man. I'm checking. Mr. Knight, what's up, man? Right? Long distance traveler said the CD age, pride in the package. For years, it was a point of pride to have the biggest, coolest CD racks. I mean, it was a cultural thing. I mean, listen, everybody that I know that buys music to this day still buy CDs. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know people who like buy music that buy digital. Everybody that I know that buys music either buys CDs or buys vinyl. CDs or vinyl. I don't really know people that buy music that buy digital downloads. Peerless Records said, all depends how you deliver it to your customers. Any type of media, if they love it, they'll consume it. Yeah, consume doesn't mean buy though, you know? So it's like if people like something, they'll stream it for free. You know, if you restrict access and they can't get it nowhere else, you could charge them for access to it. But if somebody finds a way to give access to it without them paying for it, you know, then poof, that goes up in smoke, you know? Jay Silver says YouTube could limit free plays to 3 and create digital payment cards that are a good idea, like a nickel per play. How hard is that? I mean, it goes against their business model. So YouTube makes most of their money selling ads. So if they are restricting how many views a video gets, because that's effectively what would happen if they're saying you could only watch this video X amount of time before you have to pay for it, right? A lot of people might not do that. People, like, you look at even with the ads, people install ad blockers, stuff like that. So people might go sign into YouTube, listen to a song a number of times for one account, then go and sign into another account to listen to it more, stream it from another browser. Like, people would find different ways to be able to override that, you know. And then YouTube, again, like I said, you know, their ad and the money that they make from ads, that kind of goes against that. Mr. Knight says, just jumping in, trying to understand NFT as an artist who want to release my stuff and monetize. I mean, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, right, is basically, it's, I would say, in simplest terms, it's a certificate of authenticity. That's what it effectively is. It's a certificate of authenticity. It's saying you are the real owner of product X, you know, with documentation that says that product X was made on this date. This is the first copy of product X. It was sold to whoever at this time for this amount. And that's what an NFT effectively is, with metadata that stores the file of the song or whatever item you bought and stores all of the information, cover artwork, whatever have you. All of that stuff is stored in the, I guess, folder or whatever have you that holds the NFT, you know. But that's effectively what it is, a certificate of authenticity. You know, and it's like, Mr. Knight says, I like what Jay Silver said about limited free plays. Did y'all know there was actually a company that did that? Like there was a company, I forget their name, man. I wish I could remember their name, but it was a streaming, not a streaming platform, but like I guess you could say a music store. And what they had was this system, right, where you could stream a song for free a limited number of times. You know, hold on, let me check something. Yeah, like you could stream a song for free like 5 times. And then after those 5 free plays, you had to buy it. And they had different levels of ownership. Like you could spend 10 cents to own the file on one computer. So if you had like your laptop, you could spend 10 cents and you had like ownership level access to it on your laptop. You could listen to it however much you wanted to, download it for offline playback, stuff like that on your laptop. But you couldn't like stream it on your desktop computer or anything like that, you know, only on that one laptop. If you wanted to be able to have access to it on whatever device you wanted, then you had to pay like 50 cents for that kind of access. And if you wanted unlimited access for it, then you paid like 99 cents, like how you would in iTunes. You paid 99 cents for unlimited access. So they had like individual computer level access at one price, multiple device level access at another price, and unlimited access for the standard digital download rate, and gave people the ability to stream for free a number of times to listen to the music, to decide whether it was something that they wanted to have that kind of relationship with. And what ultimately happened with that company was iTunes bought them. Apple bought that company, and everybody was like, ooh, Apple bought them, what they gonna do with it? And they were like, we're gonna integrate the technology and stuff. And all they did was just kill it. They bought it, killed it, and that was the end of that company, you know? Peerless Records said, I release vinyl and CDs for limited customers. I find that they buy the limited physicals, but they go crazy for my t-shirt designs and other art memorabilia. The artists have to offer more than music. I mean, that's like a major problem, I say, man, is that artists don't want to offer anything other than, you know, the streams. I mean, it's a thing that I've run into a lot with clients, man, where it's like you are advertising, because it's like, listen, the big benefit of advertising your music on a platform like Facebook is that you get access to the audience. So you advertise on Facebook, people get into remarketing lists. Some of those people might like your page. Some of those people might follow you on Instagram. And because of that, you have access to these people and you can push other products to them, but the artists don't be having no other products to push to these people. So it's just like, okay, well, when they come out with the next song, it's like, okay, well, here's my next song, stream that, you know, and that's all there is. And then they say, well, damn, I'm not making money for the amount of money that I'm putting into promoting my music. Like, you know, like, well, I guess it's not worth it to keep spending money to promote. And then it's like, if you don't promote, then nobody knows about it at all. And then they just end up dying off. You know, but it's like you got to diversify. You got to figure, and it's not to say that your audience wants a t-shirt from you. Maybe that's not what they want. Maybe they'd rather pay for experiences. Maybe you could sell features, but you got to be able to understand what it is people are willing to buy from you, figure it out, play, start offering different types of things, and then, you know, dig in when you find a product or service that people actually want to pay for from you, you know? Yeah, man. But I'm gonna get on up out of here, good people. Again, right? Let me put this back up. You know, again, the store now has split payments. So if you want to book a campaign or a consultation or something like that, you can pay in installments rather than one lump sum. And we got books up there. We have consultations. We have marketing campaigns, all of that good stuff. If anybody want to hit me up, you can at Pay Us No Mind on Instagram, at Pay Us No Mind on Twitter, payusnomind@gmail.com. This is Gift signing off. Pay Us No Mind. Peace, good people. One. Thanks for letting me run my mouth.